I am Margot of Covered by Margot, and I wanted to show you guys how to make a really quick, simple, easy, beautiful, tasteful cover for your ebook. Okay. And I wanted to especially focus on people of color, Black people, because I'm a Black woman and I do design work. And I wanted to show you how to do something that really looks good on your Amazon seller page or your Kobo page, regardless of your skill level, okay? Because that's one of the things that I've noticed is that there are a lot of tacky covers out there, especially, dealing with, Black people or other people of color. If you're a self-publisher, I've noticed that the quality of those covers tend to not be that good. So I'm going to show you a few tricks today so that you can actually have a really nice cover, even if you don't have the money to pay a decent designer, that you can do for yourself. Okay. So first, I'm going to show you that in a Google Draw here. Google Draw tool is wonderful because it is a tool that everyone has. I mean, if you have a Gmail, you have access to the Google Drive and all the tools there, the Google Docs, and the Google Slides and Google Draw. Now, Google Draw is very simple. It's not like Photoshop, where Photoshop is nice and everything. And I think everyone, who has a normal computer, Windows computer, has access to, or probably has a little bit of skill level in Photoshop. However, Photoshop is not cheap. Photoshop is expensive. You have to pay for it. But with Google Draw, you do not have to pay for it, and you can get all the basic tools that you need to make a nice cover. So first, what I'm going to do is open up an image file that I like. Okay. So I'm going to move over here. Go down to image, and then upload from my computer. Okay, now this particular image is from Autumn Goodman on Unsplash. I highly recommend using Unsplash if you are a person who wants to sell your ebook and use images that aren't something you have to pay for, but you know for sure that they are open source and Creative Commons. That way you don't have to worry about paying royalty fees or paying for the image in and of itself. It is a great resource that the photographers there provide free photos for you to use in for commercial images as well. So that's why I say always credit the photographer, since that is their commodity. Okay, their name getting out there. Again, this is by Autumn Goodman. It's absolutely stunning. It's beautifully composed. That yellow is gorgeous. The girl is beautiful. Her flowers in her hair. So I like this image. I'm going to start with this image. Now, first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this particular photo a little smaller. Okay, so I have a little more screen to work with. Okay, so now that it's 50%, I'm going to also make her image a little bigger. And I'm going to make her image big enough to cover most of this background space, okay? Not overlap these lines, right? Now I'm going to scroll her down until she meets the edge. And this is another good tool. You'll notice that as I click it around, the grid appears. That grid helps you to center your images and your fonts once we get to that point. But for now, what I want to show is her smiling eyes and these beautiful blossoms, okay? So again, I'm going to lower her until I think just about that is cut off. Let me just do that. So you get the smiling eyes. I just think that looks good composition wise. Now, how I'm going to see if that is where I want it to be is I'm going to click here, and you can see that edge there. That edge indicates the edge of your workable space. Okay, so I'm guessing that it's about right, but what I'm going to do is scroll. Okay, I'm going to make this bigger again, and then I'm going to scroll so that I can see if it is actually the right size. Okay, I'm going to zoom it to fit. Okay, so now that it's zoomed to fit, let me click off. All right, let me make that a little bigger. 100. See, now that that's a little bigger, I can scroll down to that edge there and see if it's where I want it to be. And it is exactly where I want it to be. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Now, I want this background to match this color yellow. But if you actually go to the colors that are available for the background, what I did was I right clicked on this background, this clear background here. If you go to that background, you can see that there's only a limited amount of colors that can be used here. And I'm guessing they probably do not match exactly, but I'm going to try anyway. Nope, does not match exactly. So how do you fix this? Well, I got an app installed called the Color Picker tool. Okay. Now with the Color Picker tool, what it does is when you mouse over, it's an application now. When you mouse over a particular color, it matches that. It tells you what the HTML code is for that. Okay. So now I know it's FAD 89B, right? So all I have to do now is click out. Okay. Click out of this color picker tool. All right. And I'm going to go back to the background. Okay. And I'm going to go to custom. And all I have to do is put in, okay, it was FAD F89B, right? FAD F89B, right? Now I just plug that in. Okay, maybe it was FAD F89 without the B. So again, I'll just go to a new box. FAD 89B. I believe that's what it was. Hopefully this is correct. Still not quite matching. So what I'm going to do is check that color picker again and make sure I get the correct number. Okay. It's FAD 89B. All right. Let me click out of here. All right. So once again, I go to the tool, background tool. I have 98. That's where I messed up. Okay, 89B. Okay. See how it matches pretty well there. Now, all I have to do now is change the view. I want it to fit now so I can see everything. And what I'm going to do is actually crop her, okay, so that she actually fits this image perfectly. Okay, so I'm going to put crop image. And those grid lines are also going to appear to help, okay, so that I match this up perfectly. See that, how it popped up there? There's a red line there. Okay, so that's one crop line. Okay, now I messed up here. I meant to grab this, but I grabbed this instead. But all I have to do is just press the undo button. And you can see it popped back to where it was. Now I'm going to grab this crop button. I'm hoping I'm grabbing it this time now. Let's see, but if not, I'll undo it. And that's fine too. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so both of these sides are about aligned. Make sure that is correct. Oh, I'm going to grab it from the side because it's a little more precise. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the bottom and make sure that that is matching as well. What I like to do for the bottom parts is actually go over a little bit so I can see how close I am to the bottom. And then that way it's easier for me to match it. See what I mean? That way it's easier for me to match it properly to the actual bottom part of the image. Okay, so there's that red line. Let me just bounce it back up. Okay. Now I'm just going to press enter. Now, That's it. Now I have this wonderful image that I can work with now. All I need is a good font and like a good title and a good uh, author's name. I'll just use my name. I'll say Margot Sampson. I'm not giving you my last name, but Margot Sampson presents Flower Girl or something. Okay. So what I'm going to do, because this is the trend now, is that usually people have their names splashed or writ large across the book in a nice clean font. So I'm going to go to insert, and there's two different options they give you here for your title. There's text box and there's word art. Text box is good if you just want a few simple options once you have your font down. But I prefer word art because you have a few effects that you can add that make the word pop out a little bit better. So I'm going to pick word art. And I said Margot Sampson, correct? So Margot Sampson, right? If I want to get fancy, I can also change the spacing in here. And I think I will because I just think it looks nice. I think it looks a little artsy. So I'm going to change the spacing a little bit, right? And then I just press enter. Okay. Now, what popped up now is Margot Sampson, and you see by default it is outlined. But I'm just going to say in general, outlined fonts look terrible in my opinion. I think the cleaner that you can get with that, the better. So I'm going to click that outline off. Okay. Transparent is where you click. Arial is fine. You know, Arial is clean. Arial is boring, but it works. Okay. So again, if you don't have that much design skill, you can't lose if you just pick a default color or, you know what I mean? Or pick a default font. Now, I'm going to make this so it fits inside just enough. And you know what? I didn't press shift. So now you can see that the font is a little squashed. I don't like that. I like for the font to maintain its standard size. So I'm going to undo that. Okay. And what you do is you press shift at the same time you're resizing, and that way it'll resize without squishing your, see, it did not squish the name at all. Now I'm just going to move this up to the top. And what I'm trying to do, if you look at how I'm aligning it, number one, it's snapped right to the middle. Now, number two, if you look at the edges, it's equidistant from the top and the sides there. So it's centered in a way that, again, looks cleanly. Okay. Now, I'm not sure if I like Arial. So I'm going to look, and I have some fonts uploaded here. I think, again, just your basic serif fonts look best in modern books. And since I'm imagining that this book is a modern tale, I'm going to go ahead and find a nice modern font. This Oswald is one I like in particular. I use that quite a lot. So I have Oswald. I'm going to press shift and resize it once again so that it fits within those parameters that I've already laid out. Hold on. Whoops. All right, come on. Right there. Okay. Margot Sampson, right? Now, I titled it what? Flower Girl or Flower Child? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert two more word art spaces here. Flower. Okay. Okay. Center. And enter another one. Girl. Right. Now, I found that when you do a title, okay, one quick, easy way to make it look really nice is to make sure that number one, both of these words match an edge. Like, it doesn't matter so much that girl is technically bigger than flower, as long as the edges match up. It just looks better aesthetically. Now, I don't like this blue because it kind of gets lost in this yellow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that color picker tool once again to pick out a color that's already in here that rebounds nicely off that yellow, and let that be my font color. So this pink here, this is gorgeous. Okay, I'm going to use this pink. That's DC 1142, right? So I go to the color picker and I click out of there. All right, DC 1142, fill color, custom, and you see it remembered all the previous colors. DC 1142. All right, it pops those F-stuffs. Now, you see how that color looks good? Just as good as her flower, and matches it and looks wonderful, and actually also makes your author's name pop. It's great. So now Flower Girl, what I'm going to do, I don't mind this Arial font this time. So what I'm going to do is change the outline, because I told you outlines don't look good. Okay? Outlines just don't look good. Just in my opinion. So I'm taking that off, and I'm going to pick another color. I'm going to pick that orange here. Okay? Use that color picker once again. And I'm going to go to the orange, and I'm going to find, okay, so that is F955 2D. Okay? So I'm going to click off this color picker. Okay. Didn't mean to click there. Kind of drifted for a second. Okay, so F929 2D. I believe that's what it was. I can't remember what it was now. So I'm going to go ahead and go back. Let me cancel out. Let me pause for a second. Let me take a breather. Okay, I'm back. I couldn't do two things at once. I couldn't remember the codes for the color picker and put them in and all of that while I'm still talking to you. So I'm just going to say that I did mouse over this flower and picked out two nice colored oranges from this particular blossom here to use for the fonts, right? Now, I kind of want a different font for this, but as you can see, it kind of works like this. Like it looks like a book cover. It really does. But I'm going to change this font up. Okay. And let me see what I think will look good. Again, I like a good clean serif font. Maybe Verdana. Let me try Verdana. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, that doesn't look like it changed very much, but I promise you, like the little things, are what make something look really nice. Okay. The littlest things. I actually think that play display font might be best, because I know that sort of retro look is in. So I'm going to go with Playfair display and see how that comes out. Yes. Okay. Playfair display. And go ahead and do Playfair display. Good. Now, what I'm going to do, center. And remember what I said about how it looks really good when you match up the edges here? I don't know why that is, but it just does. See that there? That looks good. Now, I'm going to bring down Margot Simpson a little bit. Matter of fact, I think it might even look better down here. And there's another tool that you can use to actually center these words. Again, the grid does keep appearing. If I right click on this comes up, right? And then I can go down here and it says center on page horizontally. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to center on it horizontally. And then I'm going to center on it vertically. Right. Okay. I think girl would do better. I'll just put girl there. I'll put girl at the center. Let me move this off. I'll put girl directly in the center. That'll be our focal point. Horizontal. and then center on the page vertically. Right. I'm going to move this name off and put flower on top. Let that grid show up. I'm not sure if I want it to be touching or not. I'm going to see how it looks both ways. Okay, that's one way. Okay, I don't think I want it touching. Now I'm going to move this down a little bit because I don't think I want it necessarily to be right up under the top there. So I'm going to experiment a little bit with where I want the author's name to be. But as you can see, like I'm done. Like if I were to put this book on your Amazon shelf, this looks like a nice passable cover and it's not tacky, right? I think what I'm going to do is make this so that it aligns with Flower and Girl in terms of size. I think that looks better, I think. All right. See that there? That's cute. That should be enough, really. Okay. If you want to add a review or something there, I'm going to add a fake review or like a fake thing just so it looks a little more bookish. Okay. So for that, I'm just going to use a regular text box. I don't need nothing fancy. All right. You actually can draw that by hand. Okay. And that's not quite the size I want. So again, that grid, you see how it pops in? That is so handy. So I'm going to put, pretend. And I believe that the actual font, the most standard font that's ever been used is Times Roman. And people give Times Roman like a lot of crap, but because it's such a standard font, it is one that works really well for doing like reviews and things. Okay. So I don't necessarily want this to be white. So I'm going to use the light gray 3. And now I'm going to type in what I want it to say. Okay. I'm going to pretend that USA Today said this. Okay. So let's see. Let me put that in there. Margot's best work yet. Bam. Now you can't barely see that, can you? But, it says Argo. Let me fix that. Now you can't barely see that, can you? But if I highlight it, you can see where I may need to resize it or may need to do some adjusting to make so that you can see it. So I'm going to try to bump it up to about 30. Okay. Let me see how that looks. That's fine. But you know what? I'm not going to use white. White doesn't work. I'm going to use not quite black, dark gray. Okay. And I think it needs to be a little smaller now. Now that you can see it a little better, I think it needs to be smaller. I'm going to go 24. Okay. And we'll pretend that USA Today said this. As if, but yeah, USA Today said this. They sure did. Now, what I can do, because it's a little small, one good thing about the text box that you can do that you cannot do with the art box, the text art box, is that you can highlight individual sections in the box and do different effects on them. So I'm saying USA Today said this, but I can go ahead and bold what USA Today said. Okay. That's the difference. All right. And I can also center this a little differently if I want to. I could either, do it, justify it like sort of like a newspaper article, or I can center it, and I kind of want to center it. So let's see. Now I'm just going to move this up a little, and I'm going to make this a little smaller because I still think it's a little bit too big. Let's try 18. Okay. Now, you see what I'm saying? Like it looks like a book cover. Okay. Now, if you can get one of your friends or somebody to do the quote for you, or have that be like your tagline or your blurb, and it would look just as good. And there you have it. That I am finished with my tutorial. I hope you learned something. And if you can, please support the artist, if you like this particular work, I'm going to go ahead and click a link to her, as well as Unsplash, which is a terrific website. And, if you like how I did this particular book cover, come on to my Facebook page and see other examples of my work. And you can contact me at coverbymargot@gmail.com if you would like me to design your book as well. Thank you.